Okay guys, welcome to another video. So as you would have read in the title, we'll be looking into Apple's latest MacBook Air with the M1 chip. So I'll be doing a quick unboxing, showing you the box contents, the initial impressions of the laptop, and we'll just do a quick setup and show you how this one performs. So let's get into the unboxing. So if I just show you guys the specifications, so this is the base MacBook Air with 8 GB RAM and 256 GB SSD. So I currently bought this to replace my mid 2015 MacBook Pro. So as it started to get a bit sluggish and hot over time when using it for long durations. So I thought that this one would be a much better choice since I just use it for office purpose and general web browsing and presentations, etc. And another thing which I noticed about this is the MacBook Air which doesn't have a fan. So the M1 chip is well optimized that it can give you optimum performance even with no fan. It doesn't heat up so much as the older generation models. So let's start with the unboxing. Okay, let's give it a nice wiggle. All right. So we've got this pull tab over here to take out the laptop. It is so sleek and so lightweight. So I'll just put this aside for a moment and just show you what is inside the box. So over here we have the charging cable. So it is USB-C to USB-C. And besides that, we have got some literature over here. So the quick start guide and some regulation documents and the stickers over here. So they are in space gray color because I've got the space gray MacBook Air. So if you opt for the silver one or the gold one, you'll get the color matching stickers with it. Besides this, we have the power adapter. So it is quite small and lightweight as compared to the 2015 Pro model and the other older models. So this is a 30-watt power adapter and it's got the Type-C connection over here. So that was the box contents. Let's keep it aside and focus on the MacBook. So I'll just quickly peel it off. Guys, initial impressions are very good. It is very slim. As you can see, the profile is very slim and it's very lightweight as compared to the Pro models. I think it would be 1 point something grams, but we'll just test that out also. So just to give a physical overview, it's got two USB-C ports over here and thankfully they still have kept the headphone jack, and that's it. There are no ports on either side. It's such a clean and minimalistic look, and it's nothing on the back. You have your rubber stubs over here for a better grip. Another thing I have noticed is that on the sides, if we check out the width, so it's a wedge type of a design. So it's thicker on the extreme end and it goes slimmer as you move forward. But if we compare it to the MacBook Pro, so it is slimmer than the MacBook Pro if we see this part of it. But on this edge, the thickness is actually thicker than the MacBook Pro. So the MacBook Pro is uniform thickness. This is a tapered type of a design. Still, it feels quite lightweight, and it's a quite sleek machine. So now let's check out the weight of this laptop, and I'll be just doing a comparison with some other models of laptop which I have, just to give you guys an idea of the overall form factor and the dimensions of the machine. So let's check it out. So this one is coming in at 1.2 kgs. So just for a quick comparison, I have got my 15-inch MacBook Pro as well. So let's check out the weight of this one. So this one is 2 kgs, so naturally it feels very heavy. Now if you just see, the difference in size is considerable. So this one's a 13.3 inches system, and this one is a 15.5 inches system. And even if we see the thickness, so as you can see, there is a huge difference between the width of the laptop also. This one is quite sleek, the Air. So now let us just compare this with some Windows laptop as well. So I've got this Lenovo Legion, just for a quick comparison. So this one's also 15-inch laptop. So even this one is quite thick as compared to the MacBook. But the MacBook is not a powerhouse. The MacBook doesn't have a dedicated graphics card, and it runs on Apple's M1 chip. The Lenovo runs on Intel. So there are some pros and cons in both. But if you're looking for a laptop which is very compact, and you just want to put it in your bag and quickly open it in a coffee shop or do a quick meeting, so then I think this is the one you should go for. So guys, let's talk about pricing. The base variant, which is this one, which is with 8GB RAM, 256GB storage and a 7-core GPU, costs rupees 92,900 in India, and with 6% student discount and 6,000 rupees HDFC cashback, you can get it for 81,326 rupees. The 16GB with 512GB storage model with 8-core GPU is also available and is for 1,17,900. I would highly recommend going for the base variant if your usage is office work and casual usage and light video and photo editing. With the remaining amount, you can purchase a Type-C portable SSD to have the extended storage. Okay guys, so I hope by now you would have got a fair bit of idea of the dimensions and the overall form factor. So now let's boot the laptop for the first time. So there we heard the chime. Let's just peel this screen guard off. It's booting up. So guys, I'll just do a quick setup and be right back with you. Okay guys, so I have set up the laptop. So now let's start with the keyboard. So this time is the same scissor type mechanism keyboard which is present in the previous model. Apple has replaced the previous butterfly keyboard with this one. The keys feel nice and tactile and have got a good key travel. Let me quickly show you by typing a couple of sentences. So the keys feel very comfortable to use. They have got a lot of travel, and they are not sticky and shallow as the previous butterfly keyboard. So it feels extremely comfortable while typing long sentences, and it works like a charm. In addition to that, there is a Touch ID sensor at the top right of the keyboard, which also allows you to power on as well as sign into the laptop. There is no touch bar at the top of the keyboard like the Pro models, but this time around Apple has included some new keys like the Spotlight Search, Microphone key and Do Not Disturb key, followed by the regular media keys, Mission Control, Brightness keys. There is no keyboard backlit brightness button this time. In case we need to change it, it needs to be done from the control center. I'll just quickly show that to you. So we go to the control center and we go to keyboard brightness. Over here we can change it. Unlike the previous models, we had a dedicated key over here to control that. I feel having a physical button to control the keyboard brightness, which was much more convenient rather than doing it from the control center. Now let's talk about the display. It is the same as the previous model. It's a 13.3-inch LED backlit display with 2516 to 1600 resolution with 227 pixels per inch. It has 400 nits of peak brightness. Let me just quickly show you the brightness. So it goes all the way up. It becomes quite clear and quite bright, and it can be easily used outside in the daylight as well. It supports white color P3 and has True Tone. So it will produce accurate colors when editing photos and videos. It supports up to one external display as well. If we take a look at some other features, this one has Wi-Fi 6 and it also supports ABGN and AC. So it basically supports all standards of Wi-Fi. It has Bluetooth 5.0 as well. It still retains the 720p FaceTime camera, which is quite noisy and blurry, but in bright light and daylight it performs well. Apple claims that FaceTime camera performs better with the help of the new M1 chip, but I didn't notice a significant improvement. Now let's talk about the speakers. This time it supports Dolby Atmos, and I'm quite impressed by the audio which this small machine is packing. It's loud, clear and performs quite well. Let's take a quick listen. I'll play one of my videos so that you get an idea. If we talk about compatible apps, the Apple first-party apps and the third-party M1 compatible apps would be extremely fast as compared to Intel counterparts, which would also run but via Rosetta. Rosetta is a program which allows users to run apps which contain Intel chip instructions on Apple Silicon. So there are still a lot of apps which are not yet optimized to run on the M1 MacBook. The third-party developers are still optimizing those apps. And in future, we'll get to see more applications which support the M1 and would show performance as good as first-party Apple apps. The M1 MacBook Air has a 49.9-hour lithium polymer battery, which lasts up to 12 to 16 hours depending on your usage. But it's quite good if you're using it on the move, like in a flight or a car or in a coffee shop, then it will easily last during the travel time. So it's very convenient. You just plug it in for half an hour or so and you're good to go for a couple of hours straight. Okay, so I would just like to touch upon one last point, which is the best part about this MacBook, is even after browsing, watching movies, playing a lot of games, attending meetings, etc., this fanless MacBook still remains cool, which really amazes me, as normally MacBooks tend to heat up after performing all these tasks or during these tasks. So even if I see the upper chassis near the speakers, near the trackpad or the bottom part of the MacBook, it really is absolutely cool. It at times gets slightly warm, but that only happens sometimes. Most of the times it remains cool. So that is one point I really liked about this MacBook Air. So guys, that was it from my side. I hope you really enjoyed the video. If you did, I would really appreciate if you can just hit the like button, and it'll just take a second if you can subscribe to my channel as well for such tech related videos, and I'll see you on the next one.